Hey everybody, I'm Rima Grace. Welcome back to Make Me Smart, where we make today make sense.
And I'm Kimberly Adams. Thank you for joining us on the podcast and on the YouTube live stream for everybody who is able to tune in. It is Friday, June the 27th. If you're new around here on Fridays, we have our weekly happy hour episode, Economics on Tap.
Hi, yes, thanks so much for folks who are joining on YouTube. We are going to get into some news, then play a game, but first, why don't we talk drinks? What are you drinking?
Yes. I didn't have a lot of time before the show today, so I just went with the box wine. Yeah,
same. It's one of those days. Yeah, I feel like I'm just falling behind today. I also had these grand ideas for like a fun drink, but ended up just pulling this sparkling peach water from my fridge. I did like stuff a couple of basil leaves in there though. I was like, maybe that'll make it feel a little bit more special.
I feel like that officially makes it a cocktail or a mocktail at least. Yes,
right?
I think that counts.
Yeah, it's from my garden, like so that feels good.
Oh yeah, if it's from the garden, that definitely makes it count as like something amplified and fancy.
Right. I try.
Let's see what the folks in the chat are drinking.
What are y'all drinking?
Paper Plane that Melissa McCarty is doing. Ooh, Elizabeth Bear has some home-infused King's Cognac. That is very fancy, extraordinarily fancy. Daniel
Jefferson,
has something hoppy. Yeah, coffee and water, late night, I'm guessing. Daniel has something hoppy in Rockford, Michigan. Let me go look at the Discord, and you can look at a couple more drinks, Rima.
Yeah, Kevin is no alcohol for me today. Same. Half guava nectar seltzer. That sounds really good.
Oh, Bob has a new bottle of a Toscana wine that looks really interesting. It's a very pretty bottle. Tamara is drinking Diet Pepsi and white rum. I don't know. I'm curious. I guess it's like a rum and Coke, effectively, but just Diet Pepsi. Okay. Jonathan is having only the finest Dr. Pepper Zero over there. Love it.
That sounds good. I love all these.
Yeah, what's your news, Rima?
Oh, do you want to go first? I feel like you have a bigger news item.
Yeah, okay.
Or do you want me to
go? No, it's okay. I spent my whole day reporting a story for the morning show about the ruling that came down from the Supreme Court. There were a couple of big ones today, but the one I was focused on was the birthright citizenship ruling, which actually wasn't about birthright citizenship. It was actually about universal injunctions and whether or not the lower courts have the power to put a hold on the president's policies, federal policies nationwide when someone in a particular jurisdiction actually asks for relief. And the courts said, sure, you can, but not like this. And they are saying that rather than making such use of nationwide injunctions as has been the case in recent history, instead they want everybody filing class action lawsuits, which of course make pursuing these cases much more expensive, much more complicated, and places an additional barrier on it. And I was looking at the implications for businesses and consumers, and it basically means that whereas before maybe it would be good enough for a trade association to go to a court and say, hey, this is going to hurt all of our members, now maybe you're going to have to get every single business owner to be like, hey, here's how I'm hurt before you might be able to get a nationwide injunction. It's a very big ruling. This is the way that under this administration, as well as under the Biden administration, people who have a problem with federal policies get relief. It takes so long for things to work through the courts that an injunction and putting a hold on a policy, at least while the case plays out, has been a really meaningful tool. And this going away, or at least being reduced significantly, is pretty huge.
I was reading some excerpts from Justice Sonia Sotomayor's dissent. Thought I'd share some quotes. So the federal government was making an argument, or tried to make an argument, that it'll suffer irreparable harm by not being able to enforce Trump's executive order. And so she wrote, quote, "The injunctions do no more harm to the executive than the Constitution and federal law do. The court's decision is nothing less than an open invite for the government to bypass the Constitution." And then, she went on to say that no right is safe in the new legal regime the court creates. So it's a big deal. There are going to be lots of legal battles to come.
Yeah,
And like you
I
said,
am. Go ahead, Rima.
no, go for it.
I was talking with a lawyer today who works with business clients about sort of how this was going to play out. And one of the things that she said was that she was helping her clients kind of adjust, and had been for some time waiting on this decision, adjust their arbitration agreements and their
Hmm.
sort of how their terms of service and things address class action lawsuits. And it wasn't super focused on what I was looking at today, but I was just like, oh yeah, that's right. There are all these businesses that won't allow you to, have a class action lawsuit against them because of their arbitration agreements. And I wonder,
Hmm.
like, an injunction against a federal policy is in a different category, but I imagine there's going to be some kind of overlap. Because also, if the courts get all full up with class action lawsuits
Yeah.
for all these different policies, it's going to make it take even longer
Oh,
to actually get stuff done.
so, yeah. And class action lawsuits are notorious for taking so long.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Well, I'm glad you're talking about that today. Because there, yeah, we could keep talking about it because there were also five other opinions, I believe, right? Including
I don't
decisions
know
allowing
exactly how
parents
many.
to
Yeah, I think
opt.
there were
Yeah,
five
there
more.
were several.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A big one that got a lot of attention today was a decision allowing parents to opt their children out of school lessons involving LGBTQ books. Got a lot of
Mm-hmm.
attention. Anyway, check them out.
Yeah.
The thing I was going to talk about today, that I am going to talk about, so we talk a lot on Marketplace about the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index. That is
Yeah.
a survey where every month thousands of randomly selected Americans get a letter in the mail asking how they're feeling about the economy. There were new numbers out today. And, no surprise here, people feel bad. They are gloomy when it comes to the job market, the housing market, business conditions. The numbers showed that people are a tiny bit more optimistic, which sounds great. But when you take a step back, you'll see that the numbers are still very low. Like consumer sentiment is still
Mm-hmm.
down 18% compared to last December, which tells us
Yeah.
that folks are bracing for higher prices, they slower economy in the coming months. Now, you might ask, and I've asked myself this, like, why does this matter? And a lot of economists will tell you, like, maybe it doesn't. Like, these are just soft indicators. Feelings are squishy data points. Like, sure, they're near record lows, but like, look at the job market, look at the stock market. Like, things don't look that bad right now when you look at the hard economic data. But I bring all this up because I read a great piece in Bloomberg this morning profiling Joanne Shu. She's the director of the University of Michigan's Survey of Consumers. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, I mean, first of all, it was really well written. So if you want to check it out, you should. But she was like, listen, like these investors, these critical analysts are missing the point. Consumers drive more than two-thirds of the economy. Like we have a gut sense of how things are going, whether it's out at the grocery store, or we're gossiping with our neighbors and coworkers, or when we're paying the bills. And so she was, because a lot of times you'll hear critics say, like, well, your age or your health or your political views all shape how we feel. Like, wouldn't that make the data not, a little problematic or just not accurate? And so she was making the point that these feelings influence what we do with our money. And in that way, consumer sentiment becomes a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. And
Mm-hmm.
so and I found it really interesting. And then she pointed out that this survey is actually rarely wrong. I'm going to read a quote from the article. It says, in 1973, for instance, it spotted the worst recession since World War II, while ever rising sales of TVs and cars and other consumer goods were tricking economists into thinking things were fine.
Mm.
So who knows what'll happen? Obviously, none of us know. But just because sentiment is down right now also doesn't mean that a recession will definitely hit. I think consumer moods go up pretty quickly when the climate starts to look a little different. Like if we get more certainty around tariffs, that could shift things. But I say that at the same time, Trump announced on social media today that he wants to end trade relations with Canada. So who knows what'll happen?
I'm looking at the
Yeah.
chat here. Jin Peck says, I would love for someone to ask me what I think about the economy. I have time to fill it out in detail, lots of detail. So, Jin Peck,
Tell
what do you
us.
think about the economy? Tell us.
Come on the
Impromptu
show.
poll before we even get to half full,
All
half
right.
empty.
All
What do
right.
you all think of the economy? What would the consumer sentiment of the Make Me Smart live stream chat look like?
I wonder. We should do
Mike
our
Marsh
own
says we
poll
need to stock
that we
up on
publish.
maple syrup because of the Canada thing. I just got back. I was in Canada a couple weeks
You were
ago.
in Canada.
Uh,
Yeah.
I was, and I did get some maple syrup. I also got some
Nice.
maple flavored bourbon. because I
Mm.
am
You
me.
know,
I am me.
yeah. Yeah, no, it's a must. Every time I go to Canada, I have to get my maple syrup.
Mm.
All right.
Yes,
Shall we
that is it
play
for
a
the news,
game?
huh?
Yeah, let's play a
No.
game.
Well, we're going to take a quick break first,
Oh,
and then when we come
right.
back, then we'll play the game.
Then we'll play a game. All right, maybe I should look at the script.
All right, so now it is time to play a game. Drew Jostad is here to host a round of half full, half empty. Take it away, Drew.
Okay, first up this week, we have an essay from the New York Times that calculates the cost of following sports, that is, game tickets, watching on TV, and buying merchandise, has gone up more than 250% in the last 20 years. Are you half full or half empty on the rising price of being a sports fan?
So I saw this article over the weekend, and I think I posted it in our shared "Here's What We're Reading" channel on Monday, because one of the
Mm,
really interesting components of it was just how hard it is to watch a team that you like for a whole season, because you have to subscribe to 10 different streaming services to get the day-to-day games, the home games, the
right.
away games versus the championship games. If you want to watch all of the games of the season of your sport, you need all of these different subscriptions and different tiers of subscriptions. There were stories from business owners, people who own bars, talking about how they're sitting there fighting with their TVs trying to get the game on and watching customers leave just because they don't have the right exact subscription to put it on. And it's just I am very empty. I'm not a huge sports fan, but I think
Yeah,
that
same.
at least when I was growing up, it was a middle class pastime. And if not
Mm,
something that everybody could do, you could at least get bad seats in the baseball stadium, and have
right.
a day of it. But it feels like that kind of stuff is impossible. We did an interview with the head of Angel City, the soccer team in Los Angeles,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like, "Oh, Kimberly, you need to go see a soccer game in DC." And I was like, "I want to, I will." And then all the tickets I wanted were sold out at that time. I will go. I will
Mm-hmm.
go. It's not impossible. I'm not saying that I couldn't get a ticket. The ticket I wanted was not available. But I'm going to be going to a soccer game soon. What about you? Half full or half empty on
Yeah,
sports
I'm
being
also half empty.
expensive?
I mean, I'm not a huge sports person, but it does feel like, yeah, people are paying more to consume less. And I don't love that. So I'm going to say half empty. I did go to a Pickles baseball game. That's the local Portland team here. And I had a good time. I went a couple weeks ago and that was fun. So I'm
They're the
a
Portland
half,
Pickles?
yeah. It's like there's a big
That's
old pickle mascot that goes
amazing.
around and, went on drag night. It was a good time. Pickle was in a big
Do
drag
they
outfit.
serve pickles at the stadium?
Of course. Of
Can you?
course. I had
Oh
to eat
my
pickles
gosh.
with ranch. Yeah, that was definitely the highlight of the night.
Love it. All right, what's the next one?
Next up, after a dramatic fall in their share price since the IPO, Bumble is laying off 30% of its employees. Are you half full or half
Wah,
empty
wah,
on the
wah.
struggles for dating apps?
I mean, I probably my opinion about this would be different if I were on the dating apps. But I was just talking with a friend the other day, and she was like, "I'm done with I can't do it anymore." And so, from the perspective of my friends who are fed up with them, I guess I'm half full because it seems like people are not having luck on these apps. Yeah, Artax. You have some. What are your thoughts?
Artax has brought me a toy that he wants me to
Aw.
throw, and that is the please throw the toy yell. So let's see if he goes for it. Um, I'm hearing the same thing from my friends, where they're all done with the dating app. I've been off of the dating apps for more than a year now.
Mm.
Just
Do you
it
feel
doesn't
lighter?
feel. Hmm?
I said, do you feel lighter?
I don't feel anything anymore
Yeah.
about it. I just don't think about it very much. And I've not heard enough good reports from the folks that are on the dating app to incentivize me to get back on there. They think their problem is Gen Z, but it's not just Gen Z. Their problem is Gen Z. Their problem is millennials. Can you all see this?
What is he doing?
He's
Aw.
decided that now is the exact best time to be playing with a toy that he wants me to throw. And so
Aw.
I
At
just
least your cat's playing with you. Mine has been hiding because I had to give her a vaccine shot yesterday. Now I feel like she's
she
punishing
hates
me.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I am half empty on the future of the dating apps. I don't know what they do to turn things around. I know they're trying. From
Yeah.
wanting a business to do well perspective, I wish them the best, but the streets are not in their favor.
Yep, they're not.
This
All right.
week,
What's the next one, Drew? Oh my God.
the new American Time Use Survey came out, and
Mm-hmm.
Americans turn out are spending more time at home. Are you half full or half empty?
Mm. Oof, this is a tough one because on one level I am very half full as a homebody, but the part of me that knows my soul like withers a little being at home and
Mm-hmm.
knows that it's actually best for me to be out in the world. I'm half empty. Like, do you feel like that? This week I was inside for most of the week and it felt good in the moment, but holistically, I know it's not great for my mental health. And
I'm
it's a
a bit of
struggle.
a homebody anyway, and so I don't mind being at home. And I'm definitely more on the introvert side to where I feel like I do get a my mental health is restored when I'm at home by myself, but I also have a job where I talk to a lot of people on a regular basis. So I feel like I don't get like a realistic understanding of what it actually feels like to be at home and isolated. I'm very lucky to have a really robust friend group, and if I want to go out, I
Yeah.
can go out. And so from the perspective of me, I don't mind being at home. But I know that America does have a loneliness problem and people crave connection. And so I'm gonna have to say half empty because, let's all get off of our phones and actually
I
see
know, that's really
people.
what it is. I think my ideal day is being at home most of the day, but then having a lot of touch points. Like even yesterday, I feel like was a good example where I was at home, but then my friend who's also a neighbor stopped by and we chatted on the front porch for a while. And then I went out in the garden and
Hmm.
talked to my neighbor through the fence. And that was really nice. It felt like I wasn't, I could stay in the comfort of my space while still interacting with the outside world. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I love the comment in the chat again from Jin Peck. Introverts assemble, but not in public. Ah, boy, what's the next one,
I love
Drew?
that.
Next up, are you half full or half empty on colleges investing in ultimate frisbee teams in order to boost enrollment?
I heard this interview that Kai did on the
Sure.
PM show. This was really funny, about all of these like ultimate frisbee teams that are cropping up at different universities and stuff. And it's getting quite competitive. And apparently, there's like a part of ultimate frisbee where you have to have like good sportsmanship. And if you don't, like you like lose points or whatever. And some teams were getting like knocked for not having good sportsmanship. And so I kind of love it. I love the idea of, you know, sports that don't give you CTE getting some
Right?
play at the
Unless it like
university
hits you in the
level.
head, I guess. But
Yeah, so I'll say half full. What about you?
yeah, I'm half full on that. Yeah, I'm not a frisbee player, but I appreciate sports that are a little bit chiller, laid back. Why not?
Hmm. There's several folks in
Yeah.
the
Did
chat pointing out that it's, spending money on sports at universities rather than education or lowering cost for students is kind of another thing. So
good point.
that's a good consideration.
I
Yeah.
was just
All
thinking of the
right.
spirit of the game, but that's fair too.
And Ian Panzer says Ultimate Frisbee is not a chill game, apparently.
Is it not?
No. All right. Is it time for the poll, Drew?
It is.
All right. Everybody in the chat, get ready. We're going to lean on you to get the answer.
This
what's the
is
half full, half
another
empty?
story from Marketplace this week about the reinvention of American malls. The reporter profiled some people who have opened, among other things, a wrestling gym in a vacant space in a mall, a wedding venue, also apparently even an elementary school. So are you half full or half empty on turning these malls into something a little different?
I
Yeah,
have to
I'm
say,
half
most of the
full.
malls were hung out when I was a teenager have either been shut down or they have all these new rules about like when teenagers can actually go there and whether or not you have to be supervised and stuff. And, you know, like the mall is sort of this cultural touch point has really shifted with online shopping. And I think the mall is kind of like one of those third places is I'm sad to have seen that go. And so the idea of there being like enough other things in a mall space to potentially bring back some of that third placiness of it. So like
Right.
if you can go to the gym and drop off your kid at daycare or school or you know do whatever else and do some shopping too. I like that idea. And also this is huge infrastructure that otherwise
hmm
gets destroyed, wasted, or just
Yeah,
allowed
they've
to
just
be
become like
run
economic dead
down.
zones. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just feels
Um,
sad
yeah, people, Elizabeth Bear has a good idea saying they could be community centers for all of the
for
lonely
introverts.
homeowners, all the lonely homebodies, sorry. And
Yeah,
Jason
exactly.
Peringer says they could be pickleball indoor courts. All of those are good ones.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
Yes. Oh, Mighty Unlikely says, I loved the indoor go-kart revamp that happened to a mall. So many malls have become
Oh,
neighborhood spaces. I
yeah.
would
Create some
definitely go
spaces
to
for
an
the
indoor
kids.
go-kart track
Yeah,
for
inspire people to
sure.
get out of their homes.
Yeah, there's a mini
Yeah.
golf course that opened here in DC, and it's outside. And I, have had a few occasions to be out in the sweltering heat this week, and I'm
Mm.
walking by and I see people outside playing mini golf, and I'm like, "You're a better one than me." If that was
Oof.
inside, I might be
Yeah,
tempted,
maybe.
but I'm not.
Right?
Yeah, but not
No,
that.
no.
All
The
right,
conditions
so
have to
we've
be
got
right
some
for mini
poll
golf.
results. Yeah. We've got some poll results on the reinvention of the American mall. Drum roll, please. Rima, you want to read them?
If I can
Oh, you're going to
access
give me the
them, let
drum
me
roll
read them.
instead.
Yeah.
That's okay. You gave me the drum roll.
I
That's
can't get
enough. Half
them. Oh, there
full,
we go. Yeah, half full.
94%.
Perfect.
And then half empty, 5%. Well, thank you to everyone who voted.
Yeah, thanks for voting. Do-do-do.
Yes. Yeah, that was a fun game. So, thank you to everybody
Yeah,
who
that was
played.
nice.
And that is a wrap on this week. We are going to be back on Monday. In the meantime, you know how to reach us. You can email us at makemesmart@marketplace.org. You can call us at 508 UB Smart.
Du-du-du-du.
The cat's totally worn himself out. Now he's just like laid out.
Make Me Smart is produced by Courtney Bergseeker. Today's episode was engineered by Charlton Thorpe.
The team behind our Friday game is Emily McCune, Jamila Huxtable, and Antoinette Brock. Daisy Palacios is our senior supervising producer. Sorry, scratch that. Our supervising senior producer. I'm going to get it right. Nancy Fargali is executive producer of Marketplace shows. It's because I drank most of the wine. And Joanne Griffith is our chief content officer.
Got any fun plans tonight?
I'm going to bed. I'm tired.
You're like, I'm staying home.
I'm staying home. I'm being